Good morning, and thank you everyone for joining us for our first Televic Corsair webinar. So we've just come on board with Televic and very humbled to have Basil with us, joining us from Televic to give us an overview of his of this and a Q&A. So Basil, introduce yourself. I think you're on mute, Basil.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I'll quickly introduce myself, if that's all right. So I'm Basil. I'm based in Sydney, but I am in fact Belgian, and I'm very thrilled to embark on this journey with Corsair. Looking forward to showcasing you our products today, albeit quickly, and in the roadshows ahead. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Great. All right, thanks. Let's kick it off. This is a webinar, so we really want to go through, and I don't want to go too much in depth, but just give you an overview of Televic as a whole, and have a 30-minute run through, and we'll have a Q&A, talk briefly about some of the things at ISE and what we're doing. Recordings will be available after the event, but of course, please mention things in the chat, and the Q&A will try and address some of the questions in the Q&A for the 15 minutes after the presentation, and we are available for follow-up and demonstrations, etc. after that. So hopefully everyone can see everything. If there's any issues, please mention something in the chat. We also have Corsair staff on here, Glenn and Joel. So we've got a New South Wales BDM, and we have Glenn, our Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia BDM, and also Brad, our sales director, are on there as well. So first I want to mention that we're actually going to be kicking off our roadshows. So I'll just jump forward one more slide here at the moment. So these are starting very soon. We've got a lot on. So we have 3 days we're having in March, starting in Sydney, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Basil will be up there. It will be predominantly Televic focused, but we'll have all our other products as well on there, and also showing things like integration with lumens. We have Canberra the week after, so 3 days in Canberra. Then we have Victoria the week after that, and we'll also have Didier from Televic head office, or joining us as well. So have his technical expertise, and in Adelaide. Then we've got April, Brisbane, and then we've got Perth. So just kicking off in what basically Televic as a whole, there's a few different segments. You have a wired products, so their wired conferencing systems really give you the best in digital conferencing technology, and for every sort of meeting room. We've got wireless, so new generation wireless technology, make your meetings more flexible than ever. You've got encryption on there, 100% cable and worry free. I've got one of the actual units behind me. You might better see there. That's actually a battery operated unit. Interpretation and inclusivity. This is something which Televic are pretty renowned for. So you're really enhancing interaction and proving clarity, whether it's through the their tour guide systems or their wired or their wireless, but it's all about every voice matters. So that's one thing that Televic always drive home, and just the quality of their products. So some of the applications, so city councils, there's quite a few in city councils. You may have seen some of the videos running prior to this that showed some of the looping on there. Institutions, we've got hassle-free intelligibility, 50+ languages, for large groups of up to 2,000. I won't go through all of these. Even things like courtrooms, with the wireless and accurate sound, and also internal recording in the unit, which is important. So whether it's live or hybrid, these are great units. Have a great range of products, I should say. In terms of the technology partners, now there's a lot here, but we have Televic has integration with QSYS, so delivering a powerful AV backbone, so DSP, control video and automation. That perfectly complements Televic's structured conferencing solutions, and there's plugins for the Confero and the D-Cerno, which we can talk about more if needed. Crestron control as well, so they leverage existing libraries and the APIs, and bring in the renowned audio quality of Televic into the Crestron Automate VX for a multi-camera tracking solution. In addition, we've also got lumens, so This was shown at ISC, so the cam connects and having smart multi-camera setups for both local and remote meeting participation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick you over to Basil, and he's going to give you a bit of a run through of the products. Thanks, Basil.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Happy to run you all through our portfolio right now. It's going to be high level and maybe rather quick, but don't hesitate to shoot any questions in the chat. We'll do our best to address all of them very quickly, just by ways of introduction. From left to right, we have Unicos, our video conferencing line, D-Cerno, our basic discussion system, our flagship conferencing line, Confidia, and then we have our Lingua ID interpretation desk. With regards to language distribution, we have Unite, our wireless system on DECT frequency, and Lingua IR, which runs on infrared. If we sort of put this all in a matrix, you can see that we've got wired and wireless products. We sort of tier it in discussion, conferencing, or multimedia systems. We have tabletops, we have integrated flush mounts, and each product is on one of two architectures. And we'll talk about this a bit more later, but basically anything you see in this overview with a green text box runs on our Plexus network, and with it is interoperable. So a whole Plexus system could then look somewhat like this, where you clearly see how the central unit, which is our engine, can interact with any type of tabletop, flush mount, wired, wireless units, network extenders, all using the same standard Cat5e cabling. And then with our Dante integration, DSP mode, and video in and out boxes, which we'll talk about later, you can then very easily link that network to any third-party device or network. And that's very much the philosophy of Televic as well, to really try and open up our ecosystem to be able to work with any third-party vendor. So starting off with D-Cerno, you might know D-Cerno as our entry plug-and-play discussion system with fantastic audio. And well, there's actually some news regarding D-Cerno, because the D-Cerno family has recently expanded and undergone through some changes. First of all, what was used to be called D-Cerno SL is henceforth called D-Cerno Discuss. And it's still the same tool for any basic discussion needs. You have different SKUs for chairman or delegates. And it's simply a really great all-round solution for projects with maybe limited budgets that still want a world-class conference unit. The goosenecks assure crystal clear audio. You have your speaker, all the necessary buttons, but also maybe important to mention already that you do not need to touch a button. It's still a common misconception about our products. It depends on the microphone mode that you're in. So it's up to you to use the hands-free mode where you don't have to touch any button or not. But yeah, without further ado, our newest D-Cerno member, which was launched just last week at ISE, is D-Cerno Decide. Happy to tell you a bit more. Our Decide system sort of plugs the gap between D-Cerno and Confidia in a sense that it's still our entry product, but it now features voting and language selection capabilities. That's done through some of the soft buttons. I'm not sure you can see on the slide, but they're above the general button. And it's a great tool for formal meetings where you need to have that polling ability or need some additional accessibility features. And any unit can be configured as a delegate unit or a chairman. So no need to buy one or the other. Decide and Discuss are also, of course, interoperable. And if we then take a look at everything tying this together, we have our central unit called D-Cerno AE. Anything about it will show you that it's very much a plug-and-play solution. You can just plug in your PC through the USB-C ports, allowing you to, for example, in a Teams meeting, select it as an audio source. It allows recording of up to 8 channels using internal recording or an external flash drive. And being AES67 rather native, it also can integrate neatly with any DSP. Not important in a country like Australia. That's very much a DSP country, I've come to learn. Summarizing, I put all the features of the D-Cerno here on one slide, and I won't run down them all. But two things I wanted to highlight. One is the camera control, and Mark will talk about it a bit later, for example, in the Lumens integration, and the hands-free meetings. So no need to touch a button if you don't want to. And yeah, all in all, a very convenient, straightforward system. This is what a basic setup might look like. You have the daisy-chained units in loops to allow for redundancy. Plug it into the central unit that interfaces then through USB-C with your laptop. This is a small setup. This can extend to up to 250 delegate units. We use network extenders for that in increments of 50. And yeah, the D-Cerno has a native integration with Lumens. So Mark, over to you.
So yes, as we mentioned earlier, so there's quite a few different partnerships. So one of the things that was shown at IRC on, I believe, both the Lumens stand and also the Televic stand is the interoperability with Lumens. And so the Cam Connect Pro, which some of you might saw at a last year's roadshow, now has native integration with the Televic. So you can make a sort of a low cost for camera tracking solution. So Televic will know who is speaking, so the right camera can activate and move into the position. The Cam Connect Pro also has facial recognition to make adjustment as the active speaker moves. So you've got a system which is basically can be set up all for the fraction of the cost of what you might have traditionally had. So it's just another option. And you can see this a rough mock setup there. We'll explain more of this at our road shows, but you'll see all the D-Cernos and the PTZ cameras and the audio DSP and the Cam Connect. One of the things with the Cam Connect as well, we can also incorporate in with many other microphones as well. So you could have the Televic mics, gooseneck mics there as needed, but we could have a Sennheiser or a Shure or whatever speaker in the ceiling mic, and we can all integrate in and work together. So I'll pass you back to Basil.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Moving on to Confidia Flex, our flagship conferencing product, and still our bestseller here in Australia. Like the D-Cerno unit, it features a tabletop system with integrated speaker. It's got headphone jacks, your gooseneck or low-profile microphone, but the Confidia features a touchscreen with haptic feedback that really displays all the real-time meeting information you might need and offers a lot of features with it. These features are all similar across the wired and wireless version. So let's quickly toggle through what that might look like. Well, first of all, we call it Flex because according to your desired functionalities, you can upgrade the standard unit with licenses. These can unlock voting, language selection, or RFID authentication. There's even a license for a dual delegate mode where you can split one tabletop unit among two people. And all in all, it's got a very sturdy, quite heavy, high-end finishing, just to make sure that if you move over the microphone, your unit stays still on the table very neatly. Microphones go in the USB-C jack. We've got microphones from 30, 40, 50, 70 centimeter, single flex, dual flex if you need to flex it over your laptop, for example. And if we take a closer look at some of the functionalities, well, centrally, you've got your button to speak or mute, because again, depending on whether you're in the hands-free microphone mode or not, you can use that to speak or to mute or toggle to speak. There's a lot of possibilities. You've got headphone jacks left and right, your RFID slot settings, time on the screen, a configurable resting splash screen where you might be able to display your logo. And then imagine we're walking into a meeting. What will that look like on the unit? Would look something like this, welcoming you to the meeting. That's all set up prior in Confero or Software Suite. It will ask you if you have that license to swipe in your RFID badge. If you work with fixed seating, this might already greet you with your name. But imagine you do have the authentication license and you slide in your RFID badge. You're greeted like this. You can enter the meeting very easily, and imagine you're in microphone mode where the chairman needs to grant you the floor to speak, and you've already requested to speak. So then usually, and you can configure this, but your LED light on the mic would be blinking. And if you're then granted the floor, it'll stop blinking. And if you have speech timers, for example, in place, you'll see the time running down and so on. Just to briefly toggle through what that all might look like. If you're participating in a voting topic, you can choose one of the options here. There's a clock there as well. I think there's yes, no, and abstain here, but you can go for 5 options as well for more detailed polling. And then finally, a quick view of what the chairman sees as opposed to the delegates. You can see there that on the touch button below, there's 2 buttons that light up. One is to just mute all participants, but the chairman also controls recording, chooses who's next in line, can toggle through agenda topics, manage voting, and so on. So all in all, whether you go for the wired or wireless version, functionalities remain the same, with the difference that in wireless, and we at Televic call, if you see G4, that means wireless. The setup there is somewhat different, of course, in that you use an access point which functions as a central unit by itself as well. So straight out of the box, you need no cabling. You can just get a wireless system on the go. The access point can also be cabled into a larger setup, and I think we have a slide showing an example of that a bit later. So you can use wired and wireless units interoperable, and of course, with wireless comes batteries and charging. The charging tray on the right, which gives you about 12 hours of speaking time on a 2-hour charge. Regarding Wi-Fi technology, G4 operates on Wi-Fi 5, so it's on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands, uses multiple antennas to ensure good signal. It's got dynamic frequency selection. And it switches channels in the background without you ever hearing a pop or intermission. And with the WPA2 enterprise level security, you're sure that no one is eavesdropping on your meeting, so to speak. We have 2 types of Confidia G4 units. We've got a Flex G4, which is basically the all-in version, depending on your licenses on the left. But we also have a Go G4, which is a version that is much more limited in functionalities in that the screen is not active. So it's also always a black screen, but sometimes it's a desired option when there's really need for a wireless discussion-only unit in a Plexus network. So if there's some budgetary constraints or it's a massive setup, it's a very easy way to also give more people access to a tabletop unit without having to go all the way. The batteries for G4 system, they come in a rack mountable charging tray. There's 2 of them, and they're hot swappable. So if you get a notice that one of your batteries might be low, you can just take it out. Your unit won't fail. Again, 12 hours of autonomy should be more than enough for any meeting, but then you can go and charge a battery during a meeting and get it back. It's got a push to test button, and the CHD is rack mountable, so you can just plug it close to your DSP for convenience. Let's get into a use case for these wireless units. And a great use case for this is in the courts. So it's set up with wireless G4 units and hands-free with the DSP mode enabled is a really easy bolt-on to any existing AV architecture that you already have in place. I've heard instances of judges wanting to come down from the bench to have a more mediation type court setting, which is very easy with the wireless unit. You're also, depending of course on the particular courtroom, but sometimes you're fighting bad acoustics for people sitting behind the speakers or solicitors who of course address the judge, and that extra audio you get from the speakers, up to 80 dB if I'm not mistaken, that really carries backwards. So that also helps for other people that are just sitting in sessions. You can bring in remote witnesses and even their interpreters very easy in these temporary setups. And another big plus is just the recording, because that goes with the quality of the audio has become so important in recording, especially in courts. You just need, for compliance sake, really flawless recording. And that's where our smart audio and control features come in. So very briefly, what does that mean? First of all, there's the gain that is adjusted according to the natural volume of the speaker. Someone that might be a bit more soft-spoken will have more of a pickup, and that gain is then also shared if there's multiple microphones open. That does really give a big difference. Also an accessibility feature, if you will. Dynamic mix minus just makes out that you cancel any echo or feedback you get through your own speaker by shutting that one off when you're speaking. And the advanced voice activation is a technology that is superior to regular speech detection in a sense that because the microphones are always on, you can start capturing audio immediately. They don't need to first activate, and you don't have that little lag where a first syllable or word would fall off. So everything is captured all the time, which is quite important for sessions like this. Arc restaurant integration, I was just there in the Chatswood office 2 weeks ago. We have a permanent G4 system set up there. So if you're ever around, they can always demo it, and don't hesitate to ask me to come in. I'm not that far from Chatswood, so happy to come and show you. Automate VX from Crestron has a simple template setup that sort of visualizes the room prep for a flexible meeting. And with the native integration, it's very easy to have their cameras and control systems follow the speakers. So another example of one of the very value-adding partnerships that Televic is working on. Moving on to Unicos, because when we talk about creating better understanding, we also mean that everyone deserves to be seen. And there's, of course, a lot of great camera tracking solutions in place, but these still sometimes create line of sight issues. And for instance, where you really want eye-level view of each participant for maximum engagement and to really grab those non-verbal cues of people who aren't speaking, we have our Unicos system. So we've got two types, a Pro and a Core. Pretty straightforward for more informal settings without a lot of protocol and procedure. Our Core version is perfect. The Pro one has all the features you can expect, similar to the one in the Flex, in the Confidia Flex series, and then some. And then both go from the same tabletop view or look, if you will. There's the 10-inch tiltable touchscreen, 5-megapixel camera. You've got your microphone, you've got your speaker. In that sense, it's pretty similar as the other units. It hooks up to a multimedia engine, so the Plixis MME is the central unit there, and that can deliver up to 6 HD video streams. Aside from those tabletop units, we also have a flush mount called Confidia Pro F. that is either integrated in your architecture or is on one of our mounts, as you can see in the picture below. And then we have our Unibox Pro. That's basically the engine, the heart of the Unicos system that's been taken out. That's very easy and custom built to have the Unicos features on any touch screen. So you have all the ports you need there for conferencing. It's on the same Cat5e cabling as the rest of the network, and can deliver some really nice solutions in custom settings. So what might a basic system then look like? So first of all, tying it together, you've got the Plexus MME, the black box there on the top, with daisy-chained Unicos tabletops and maybe nameplates. I'll mention those in a bit. But you can also hook up your wireless access points, so your wireless unit can communicate to the rest of the architecture, and then have camera integration or configure it for hybrid meetings. We also have video in and video out boxes. Not unimportant because these can inject or extract the video streams from into the network. So in case you, for example, want to project graphs or an agenda or a document onto all your Unicos units, or you want to pull out video streams to route them elsewhere in a room or on a screen somewhere, that is all possible with Unicos. The MME also has a Dante version, which then allows you to hook it up to your UC platform, and so on. It's a very versatile video conferencing module. You can configure it for hybrid Teams or Zoom meetings. For example, if you use a Magewell to stay on brand HDMI to USB connector, you can hook it up to your laptop or MTR. Use the video in and out boxes to make sure you have the right functionalities that you're after. And getting into these hybrid environments, because they're the standard now. You can also use multi-window processors to sort of give more people some screen real estate in hybrid meetings. In Teams rooms, I should say, it will look something like this. So you have the one tile on the left, which is your standard hybrid integration. But using a multi-window processor, you can actually split that screen up into 4 video streams, for example, where you don't only have the last person speaking of the people that are on site, but also maybe the 3 latest speakers. So you get those non-verbal cues as well. That's it for Teams. Zoom Room has a similar solution if you use multi-window processors. It's a bit more elegant here in a sense that if you go from left to right, you get more screen real estate for the video streams you pull in. So yeah, that's very helpful. I get a lot of requests for our Plexus nameplates. And they're fantastic products, single-sided or double-sided, also powered on the Plexus network and fully configurable. But we don't sell these standalone. These come only in a Plexus network. So had to disappoint a few people and try to convince them to get a full Televic system if they really wanted them that bad. But yeah, just to show that we have these as well. Interpretation, a bit less of that. I feel here in Australia, that's more because of Televic's roots in Europe with the Commission and all the authorities and institutions there. But basically, we have an interpreter desk that gives maximum comfort and usability to interpreters, also on the Plexus network. For any multilingual meetings, you can have up to 64 channels. There's even the option of video. The interpreter has their own little equalizer just to get really crystal clear audio to not tire them too much. But yeah, that's the interpretation unit. And then for our first language distribution solution, I'll kick it back to Mark, who will talk a bit about Unite.
Great. All right, thanks, Basil. We'll try and speed this up because we're nearly out of time. So
sorry.
we'll talk about Unite here. So Unite is basically part of, it's basically you can have a multifunctional system where every participant is not just listening but can actively engage. So you can run multiple groups at the same time without interference. It has advanced security features, so you can ensure only authorized participants join specific groups. And you'll see a couple of suggestions there. So, you know, guided tours is just an obvious one. Factory tours, museums, there's quite a lot happening, I suppose. I think it's some of the car factories overseas that are using this, and loud environments because of the functionality that it has. Wireless presenting, whether it's, you know, educational aspect or some other thing. So very, very handy. And we actually have the ability to have 4 wireless microphones running simultaneously. The other thing that's really, I suppose, important to touch on is the inclusivity aspect. So there's quite a lot around inclusivity. So you can actually transmit audio description or transmit in foreign languages and assisted listening for the hard of hearing. Something that I suppose also may not have come up in these, I'll just mention quickly, but there's an IR radiator. So for some of the transmission to in audio, if you need it, not wireless technology, in applications where you don't want it to cross boundaries or walls, there is IR technology for maybe there's a courtroom or something where you want people only in that room to access the audio. So we can talk about that as well later. So yeah, so you can transmit up to 32 languages in parallel with their systems. I'll just flick over to another slide here. You'll see some of the product range there. You've got body pack transmitters, you've got handheld transmitters, as we see here. There's a whole range of different microphones and other options available for it. Access points. You've got the body pack receiver, and you've also got the body pack receiver with the talkback functionality as well. Now, kicking off show a bit more of the guts of it. You'll see that some of the functionality in the devices, like the microphone, for example, we have Bluetooth headset can be put into here. We have USB audio in and out of the unit. We also have on the transmitter, we have Bluetooth input on there and USB audio in and out. So you have a lot of functionality on there for really enhancing the multimedia experience on there. For guided tours, as said, you can have multiple transmitters, 16 simultaneous groups. You've got Bluetooth on there, so you can have a master and a submaster on there. The access points. So the access point supports also 4 analog inputs and outputs. We also support Dante in and out. Now, you may have seen Dante before when Basil was talking about the Plexus network. So we run with the Plexus, it runs on its own ecosystem in there, and you can run Dante devices and get them into the system. Same with the Unite as well. These access points have a range of 150 meters. You can have 8 synchronized AP4s in there, and it's expandable up to 32 channels, as mentioned previously. So let's look how we compare. This might not actually be up to date. I think the battery life is actually a bit longer, but You'll see there's on there, we've got features like Bluetooth, you've got request to speak, you've got 2-way communication with both the TX and the RX, you've got audio level control, you've got noise gate, you've got noise cancelers, you've got audio ducker, you've got all with AS encryption. So there's a lot of really good features and functionality in their products that you may not have been aware of as well. Here's another page and more on there. So you'll see there's induction neck loops and more information on there as well. So just wanted to give you really a highlight the functionality that basically is on Unite. We will have the Unite going through our on our road shows along with other equipment. So we might go, we're 11:34, might go to a Q&A and see what questions we have in the Q&A. Basil, I think there was one in there about.
Just wanted to briefly mention that Unite is used at Sydney Opera House. If you ever want a good demo, it's probably the best tour you can do here in Sydney. So a question about whether Televic products support CAT standards higher than 5E. And yes, we do, CAT 6 and category 6A as well. So for that question.
I don't think we've got any more other questions, but
no, I don't see any.
Yeah, so that's pretty impressive. The Opera House have got 450,000 people that use it. So, and they will also use it ISE in the Avixa and the guided tours. So, yeah. So I think that pretty much about wraps it up on what we've got to go through. So let's just go back to, back onto here. So thank you for joining us. And yeah, here are our details if you need to get in touch with us. Scan the QR codes. This recording is going to be available, and yeah, you can contact on there. And we hope to see you at our roadshows. And yeah, thanks once again for joining us. And as I said, this was just a brief overview. Hopefully not too much information, but just give you a bit of a sample. All right, great.
Thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and looking forward to meeting you on one of our road shows. Don't hesitate to reach out or just give me a call if you have any questions. Happy to help.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Mark.